to that articulation presentation. That's going to be so glowing. What happens is today the competition is too stiff. And the guy who meets me, who gets to write a real resume, let's take this same guy and let's put down his, he liked the executive summary rather than objective. Information technology security expert since 1985 in both public and private sectors. I bring the engagement and diversity. Well, you can read it, right? You can't read that? Oh. Well, that's me. Who said it keeps moving? Here, I'll have you hold it for me, all right? Let me do that. Is that better? But now you're getting a focus on who this guy is. He's a securities expert. Okay? And now when I go down here, this bullet point section, sorry for that, now he's talking about what he actually needs. Needed to design, sorry for the moving. Well, the objective is his executive summary. Let me give you a perfect objective. Who said that? Right here? Okay. A perfect objective is this. I'll use the martial arts as a background. We could use the military. People will write all these fluffy words. I'm a great communicator and team player and all this other stuff that means nothing. What you want to put as your objective is, I am currently a yellow belt coming into martial. I'm currently a white belt. My objective is to become a yellow belt. That's your objective. I am brand new at this. I now want to go to the next level. For example, it might sound something like this. I'm currently and I'll use the computer trainer person. I currently have been using computer training for the last 5 years, wish to continue this role with my next organization. Maybe you're already a black belt in your environment. Most of you have probably been doing something for a while. So you may already be a black belt in your environment. So you may say, I'm currently a salesperson since 1995, wish to continue this role with my next organization in the area of healthcare. That's an objective. I am on this mountain. I wish to be on this mountain, if it's something new. If you're already on this mountain, I have 15 years of sales training, then state, I wish to continue to stay on this mountain with my next organization. Did that make sense? Did anybody have any questions on that? Okay. What we get confused with is because the first person who's going to see that is usually HR or some LinkedIn recruiter, and if you don't have a clear objective, they don't know what you are. Does that make sense? So again, what I'm trying to share with you is focus. Focus on what we want to make. Focus on what we want in a corporation. Focus on what a corporation's wanting. At the same time, making sure that we love what we're going to do. Okay. I talked a little bit about understanding your skills technically. Who turned that light on? I think that light doesn't help. Is that better? No? Okay, that's okay. I'll share with you what it is. I apologize. I should have been better prepared as far as giving you something. The next one we're going to talk about is we talked briefly about your skill sets. Okay? If you're wondering what your skill sets are, there's tests you can take. Nancy's probably got some tests you can take to find out if you're good at sales or things like that. I would highly take those tests because once you've got that focus of what you want to make and what your given skill sets are, whether it's math or science or biology or speaking or whatever those are, or then that's going to help you target as well. We talked a little bit about what needs to be on a resume. Let me add to this. There's 4 pieces. The first one's a clear objective. The second one on your resume is everything relates to your objective. Nobody cares that you're the greatest macrame maker in the world. Nobody cares that I do martial arts when I'm talking IT. Okay? Don't talk about my martial art background if it's on an IT gig. Let me look like a dork just like I do now. If I'm going to be running around in my pajamas, then talk all martial arts and stuff like that then. Make sense? So I have kind of these dual roles. There's this guy, the IT guy who helps you out, and then there's this martial art guy. The third thing is most important. It's what's the benefit to hiring you? And let me even help you target that. What's the benefit to hiring you? The benefit should be your bullet points. The benefits should sound like a STAR, be a star. And the acronym for STAR is ST stands for situation. What's the situation that occurred that they hired you? Now, this is the most difficult part for someone who's worked for a company for a long time. And the reason why that is because you've been doing this so automatically, or as I like to say, automagically. You don't even think that it's a skill set that they're paying you for. So you need to have someone coach you or help you. We just got a new coach here that can help you realize what that situation is. I'll use my worst example because it was the easiest. I had my other neighbor come by, and he's a gas man for 23 years. He literally had his name, his address. He says, I worked for Nicor Gas for 23 years, high school diploma. That was it, 1/4 of a page. The embarrassing part is he came up to me and he said, Lou, I had one of the other neighbors help me with it before I gave it to you. I was like, did they spell your address right? I mean, what did they possibly give you for? And I had to sit with him and I said, okay, so when it got so bad that I said, okay, Tim, you are melting my brain. I said, when you go to work, what do? I get out of the truck. Beautiful. Okay, good start. When you get out of the truck, what do you walk up to? And what tools do you have in your hand? Oh, well, I've got a regulator 95302, and we go up to a generator 305. Great. Tell me what the generator 305 does. I mean, it was that much. After 2.5 hours, I said, Tim, go home, eat lunch. I have smoke coming out of my head. Come back later this afternoon so I can focus on you again, all right? You are not anywhere near that bad, okay? Just the fact that you are here, you're already well ahead of the game. But it should sound something like the situation, and then the action is the A, S-T-A, and then R is the result. Situation, action, result. You can even talk to your kids that way. Situation is S-T. Situation, action, result. The two are one. Situation, action, result. So when you talk in situation, action, result, and since you can't see this, I'll read it to you. So it's going to sound like this. This is what he had previously put. Directed all aspects of an organization with full P&L responsibility. Okay, that is a guy hoping that he has enough personality that they'll ask a question about that. Don't give them any questions to ask. Let them be able to read it. It also shows you're a great writer if you do that right the right way. So when he says something like this, and here's a situation, action, result statement. They needed to design circuits that were military grade. Situation. More accurate than current standards. Recruited, screened, the action, and hired an electrical engineer with expertise in military-grade technology and robotics to increase the accuracy of the circuits by 19% over the competition. Your results should say one of two things. How you improved it, how much time you saved, how much money it made. How you improved it, what's the percentage, or how did you make it better? I did this because I did this, or better yet, the situation was I worked at Motorola down the street, and I'm a project manager. And we needed to take this electrical component and put it into a code. That was the situation. The action that I took were I imported these three things into an Excel spreadsheet. It decreased time by 80%, and what used to take us 2 weeks now takes us 2 days. There's a situation, action, result statement. When you speak in those things and they read that, the person who's now reading it, whether they're the HR person or whoever, realizes that you're someone who gets it done. I wanted Bob to get it done. Here was a situation that I've got for you, Bob. I need you to do this. What actions are you going to take, and what's the result? When we start speaking, well, Lou, isn't that going to make my resume a lot longer? So? I mean, do I have to keep it on 1 page? Absolutely not. Matter of fact, if you're over 40 in here, it better be 2 pages or 3 because you've got something to share. If you don't have something to share, that's a bad thing too. So I wouldn't be worried as much as the length as much as the content. The content is critical. Okay, and lastly, briefly list your levels of education. You know, what's your brain power say? What's my level of education? What skill set? I have one guy who's a vice president of an IT department who has a high school degree. Came right out of Jewel, went to high school, and now he's running an IT shop. He just consolidated 5 large corporations. He has a staff of 60. He's dealing with $50 million in transactions. And he has a high school degree. And he says, so what do I do with my skills? I said, did they give you any training? He goes, oh, yeah, they took me to Dale Carnegie, and I took this course. I put those courses down. Put all that knowledge they've got down. Put all those certificates that you've got. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, put that down. So we start off with a clear objective, get focused on our target. Everything on our resume relates to the objective. Situation, action, result. What's the benefit to hiring you? And then lastly, briefly list your levels of education. Okay. I think I'm doing okay on time. I have 10:45? Okay. Okay, great. We got what needs to be on your resume. The interviewing process. You're going to meet two people in the interviewing process. Let's go back to the DISC quickly. Generally speaking, the DISC is the dominant, the influence, the steady, the cognitive. Generally, the first person you meet, whether it's a recruiter who calls you up from seeing your LinkedIn background, your profile. By the way, LinkedIn is the most #1 way to get yourself hired. And really, LinkedIn is a representation of your resume done correctly. Dennis was working at some place called Follett when somebody looked at him on LinkedIn and called him for his current job that you just heard about that y'all clapped for. That's how he got the job. Not because he's brilliant, not because he was out there sending the resume, because it found him. Okay? So I'll stop with my LinkedIn profile there to go from that. But that's got to be an excellent representation of what your resume is. The two people you'll meet, HR is going to be first, that recruiter. The person who's going to call you, the person you're going to meet usually is an influence person. And then lastly, you're going to meet that business owner who's got objectives to meet, is going to have very little time for you, and you haven't built any trust for him, even though you're a great person. So you want to speak, efficiently. Our biggest challenge that I find, and it's going to go into the next one, which is what do we do once we get to the interview? The first thing we get to the interview, most of us, if we're being honest with ourselves, is freak out or feel very bad about ourselves, sweat profusely, hope we've got enough underarm deodorant on, and I'm going to share this with you. This you'll remember, is you want to get to the point of being okay. Okay? If I can use, Nancy, may I utilize you? Sure, grab your microphone.
Do I have to sound smart?
You sound however you want to sound. I think we can all agree Nancy's pretty smart, right? Okay.
All
right. So here's Nancy. Imagine that I'm hitting on Nancy. Okay.
That's so hard to imagine, isn't it?
Okay. Italian guy, right? We all think we're about 5 sit-ups away from perfect builds, right?
That's right.
All right. So Nancy, how long have you been at this college?
5 years.
Yeah, great. Anything you don't like about the college?
No, not at this time.
Yeah.
The food, maybe.
The food, okay. Is that why your breath is smelling the way it smells?
Maybe.
Okay.
I bet you
Start
it's
right
because
there.
they don't have Italian food.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Now we're getting not okay, right? It sounded pretty nice right off the bat. I was okay, she was okay. How was communication? How was listening? It was perfect. Once we get to not okay, and you feel that way walking in to the interview, I'm now becoming not okay. And as you start to become not okay, I'm just telling you, if that job isn't supposed to be for you, it's okay. No is a great answer. No is a great answer. I'm done utilizing you, by the way. So that was great.
Shucks.
So we want to stay
get an
on
applause.
okay. Wonderful work, Nancy. So okay. Once you're okay, you can hear clearly. So focus, when you walk into that interview, if nothing else you say to yourself is say, I'm okay. I'm okay. Okay? I'll give it to you another way. I was single until I was 40 years old, which was 11 years ago. And I don't know, this friend of mine who cuts hair said, I got this girl I think you'd like to meet. And I said, sure. And she came over to my house to meet me. And this girl, this is for the guys in the room. I guess the girls will like this too because they like outfits. She came in leather pants, a fur-lined shirt, cleavage barking out at me, long hair, not my wife, by the way, and stunning. She comes in, the first thing she says to me, she says, I'm having a problem with my zipper back here. Do you think you can help me? My glasses melt off my face, all right? This is how I'm now talking, because I'm clearly not okay. And she says, I'll be in the bathroom, I'll be right back. I don't know what to do. Literally, I'm stunned, and that's a very rare situation to get me in that position. I call up my best friend. I say, Don, you can't believe what just walked in my house. He's like, what? He's thinking like it's an iguana or something. I'm like, no, this girl's fantastically gorgeous. I can't even speak. He says, Lou, get a hold of yourself. He goes, be cool. I went, all right, wait, be cool. Yeah, okay, I remember that. I remember how to do that again. Okay, be cool. Be okay. Be cool when you walk in there. If you can remember that little scenario, that little story, and I'm telling you, we had the most phenomenal night the rest of the night. We were dancing and having a great time. I mean, we went to some party and stuff, and it was just phenomenal. Probably one of the better dates I've ever had in my life from 2 words. Be cool. And if I could just remember to be cool, if you could just remember when you go in there, be okay. And you kind of walk through life that way. Have that attitude that Dennis had. You know what? I'm just going to be the best guy they've ever seen in this position. And if it's not for this company, that's okay. Because when we do that, the key in this situation is called listening. And we forget that skill set. Those of you who have teenagers know that that skill set's eliminated altogether. All right? Listening. And the only way we get to listening, and even when our teenage kids listen to us, and I hope your kids listen to you, is that when we're finally just okay. And I'm saying, Mark, so how long you been out?
Well, I've been out for about 15 months.
Okay. What'd you do?
I'm a certified nuclear medicine technologist.
It's a specific skill set. Does that transfer into something else, or are you going to have to travel around the country to find something else?
So I
Or?
can basically do other stuff that's related to nuclear medicine, like radiation safety,
Okay.
clinical application specialist.
Where are you finding the opportunities for that?
By going on LinkedIn, by networking, letting people know what I'm looking for, if they have any contacts, things of that sort.
Have you been on any interviews recently?
Not currently.
Okay. So that's your, see, and you're hearing we're having perfect dialogue because he's feeling he's okay and I'm okay. Even though he's being put on the spot in front of all of you, he feels okay with this conversation. So as long as we're listening, we can find that out. Many times, especially when you're with those dominant people, they will not only listen, they don't even want to listen to you, they just want to tell you what they want. Okay? So I hope that kind of helped with that as far as when you're on the interview. Where are we at with, okay, how do I dress? By the way, how do I dress? This age group believes we should dress like I'm standing right here. That may not be the case. You may want to find out first before you go say, so how do you guys dress? Is it business casual? I'll give you an example. I walked in looking just like this as a recruiter back in the day to a company called Platinum Technologies. And I was meeting the HR director, and we were going to talk about new positions. The place was gorgeous. I mean, they had like almost looked like a diamond-studded, looked like granite countertop floors. The railings were these steel wire bars held up. I mean, it was just a gorgeous-looking facility. I was so impressed. And I'm sitting down. I'm waiting for this person. This girl walks up to me in a pair of jean shorts and flip-flops and a white T-shirt. And she goes, "Hi, I'm so-and-so." And I was stunned. I was like, who, what? I had no idea. I was not prepared to be dressed the way they wanted to. Remember how I said articulation and presentation? My presentation was, I looked like the government coming in for an audit, and she looked like she was ready for the beach. So I would call first, if you get that opportunity, and make sure that you look like they want to look. Don't overdo it, but clearly don't underdo it either. The next one is, and this is actually probably what the DeVry students enjoy the most, but yet we've never been trained on. What are the 8 ways to make money? And by the way, when I started it with DeVry in '98, there were 3. They've pushed it up to 8 through their education, not mine, but just coming up with it. So the 8 ways to make money. Anybody got one of them? Wait, one at a time. Go ahead. Print it. Okay, let's try it legally, the 8 ways to make money. I do appreciate that, though. This is being taped, so the government will be following you home. Go ahead. 8 ways to make money. Invest in yourself, maybe, yeah. Maybe. Sell something. Yeah, you're going to make money that way. Yeah. It's funny, right? I mean, here we are, a room full of adults, 40 and up, and we really don't ponder that question, how do we make money? So let me share with you some of the ways that we make money, okay? Number 1 is find a treasure. Find a treasure. What? Somebody just said number 2. Who said win the lottery? Now we're making money. Wait, and by the way, we don't call that just winning the lottery. We call win when betting the odds. Win when betting the odds. So if you're watching the poker channel and you're seeing some guy with shades on winning $20 million, we call that winning when betting the odds. Okay, we're betting the odds and we're hoping that we win. Obviously, a stack of people lose in the lottery, correct? Has anyone in here won in the lottery? Nobody? Has anyone in here played the lottery? Honestly, you've never played the lottery? Nobody? I mean, wait, let's raise our hands high for a second. Who's played the lottery? Who's gotten a lotto card for Christmas even if you haven't played the lottery, right? Okay, so we've all played the odds and won maybe a little bit or something that hasn't defined our existence. All right, winning when betting the odds is one. Inherit it. Some of the richest people in the world are women who their husbands made a stack and died. You inherit it. Married to money. Yeah, that's it. Good for you. I wish I would have had that philosophy when I married. First one is, and I'm having a little fun with it. These are ones that are pretty much hard to do. Can we all agree to that? But let me do some ones. So we've got winning when betting the odds, which is lotto, poker, gambling, inherit. The other one is winning a lawsuit. You hate that one because usually you've lost an arm or an eye or something like that. But you win the lawsuit, which is wonderful. So let's talk about some ones that are making money that we can do. One of them is working hard. If me and Bob both work at McDonald's and I work 40 hours a week and he works 50, he makes more money because he worked hard. We can all work pretty hard. You've already shown that by showing up here, right? What's that? Number two is hiring others and profiting on their labor. This is what I've done with ARS technology. I've hired others, and then I profit from their labor. In other words, I've hired Mark, and I've hired Bob. I'm using that obviously as an analogy. And they go out to these companies that I've negotiated with, and he's an IT expert, and he's an IT expert, so he has 5 different seats that he sits in the course of a week, and I make $125 off of him. I'm just using round numbers. I give him half, I take a quarter, my business partner takes a quarter, and now I call that putting cheese on the burger, hiring others and profiting from them, and now I do that with another guy. So I'm making a quarter here, and then I hire 10 guys, and I'm making a quarter from each one of them. Does that make sense how that works? Hiring others and making a profit off them. That's what every corporation does, Motorola, McDonald's, et cetera, is they hire others and make a profit off of them. So why would I tell you that? Maybe it's time for you to start thinking about your God-given talents and hire people who have skill sets that you don't have. Like, what's your name? What's your skill set?
Marketing.
Okay. Let's take it's Latrice? Clarice. Let's take Clarice and she does marketing, right? Well, with Clarice in marketing, let's say she has no skill sets in back office. I need someone to do payroll for me. I need someone to do this. Maybe I need someone to sell, and then I'll be the marketing piece to it. So she might hire 2 people, get the value off their labor. She'd be paying one to do payroll, and then making money off the salesperson, and then she'll get to do what her God-given talent is, which is the marketing. Okay? So those are just some clear examples. There takes some guts in doing that. I started again, after 99 resumes of getting rejected, I said, I'm just going to try this and dive both feet forward with this ARS technology thing, because I looked at my skill sets and I said, I want to make this amount of money. I have 2 skill sets. I know how to instruct martial arts, and I have a stack of IT guys. How am I going to make money? Let me even add to that. What I did is I said, if I want to make this amount of money, whatever that is for you, how many IT guys would it take to make this amount of money? And how many martial arts students would I have to make this amount of money? Since I had 2 skill sets. I only had 2. It took me 233 martial art guys a month to make this skill set, dealing with their families and all the issues and uniforms and stuff like that. It took me 2 IT guys to make that money, 2 8-hour jobs for 2 IT guys. And all of a sudden it became very clear what I was going to be doing. Okay? So if you have several skill sets, like Clarice, she seems very talented, she's bright, she sat down here in the front, she's got a pen, she's prepared. I'm not prepared. She is. And yet as she's taking notes, this may be something perfect for her to think about is, I may want to run my own business. She seems very polished, she seems very bright. Matter of fact, I'm not looking at anybody here. I go, boy, you just look dumpy. You came here today totally in your sweats and flip-flops, and you look like a dope. You all are bright. So we all want to get better and do things such as that. Okay. The other one that's very important here, and this is where I'm working into, is creativity. Creativity. Let's think of creativity for a moment. Ray Kroc saw this process by these guys called the McDonald's brothers. Well, that seemed to work out for him pretty well. Creativity was this guy, Bill Gates, who was working out of his garage, never had a degree, you know what, guys at IBM that I'm working with, you guys work on those PCs that you want in every home. Yeah, selling that hardware is going to be great. I'm going to do this stupid little stuff called the software. I'm going to call it Microsoft. I'll just help you out with these boxes. We'll see how that works. Worked out pretty well for him. You know, interestingly enough, there was an interview just recently on Yahoo. I don't know if you saw it, with Warren Buffett. You would think that he's extremely busy. He was doing the interview. He says, you know what money has given me? He says, total freedom with my calendar. And he opens up his calendar. He says, I don't receive email. He says, my assistant gets that for me. He says, so I don't have email. I don't have a cell phone. He says, I'm usually in the same pair of khakis that I've worn for 20 years. And he's holds open a literal calendar, you know, like a physical piece of paper. And he goes, look, it's all open. He says, when I see somebody, I put on a shirt and a tie. He says, when I don't, I'm in my khakis around the house. I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting, right? Because we seem like we're running. Okay, so creativity. Let's think of some other people. Anybody remember the 90s, this team called the Bulls? Anybody come to mind? Michael Jordan, yeah, we still remember him, right? That guy was pretty creative, wasn't he? I mean, not only on the court, there was a guy in the 80s who was identical to him, maybe someone will even remember his name, called the Human Highlight Film. Anybody remember him? He went against Jordan in all of the slam dunk championships and either won or came in second to Jordan. Dominique Wilkins, thank you very much. Who remembers Dominique Wilkins other than the two people in this room? A few. How many people know Michael Jordan's name if I went like this? Because Michael Jordan did something different than Dominique. They're identical players for all intensive purposes. What Michael Jordan did is he created something. They created this brand called Jordan off him because he had something that Dominique didn't have. Want to be like Mike? Bang, right? Hey, time for a burger? So he'd come in and he'd do all those commercials. He'd have that smile, and he seemed very open to us, very easy to approach. Dominique was very standoffish, which is the way Kobe Bryant is. We don't trust him. We don't trust LeBron. Right? Right? Oh, look, I earned my ring. No, you got your buddies, baby, and you hang out and you won a championship. We don't call that. In Chicago, you got to work for it. Right? Don't you feel? I mean, does anybody feel great for LeBron? Like, wow, he's just the best basket. Everybody can't stand that guy. Right? Okay, except his little group of followers. Okay, so not to beat up on LeBron. That's not the goal. The goal is to get you in the right position. One thing I ask with the students is I say, who wants to be a millionaire in a week? Raise your hand, and we'll do it in your job set. And they raise their hand, right? By the way, if you're not raising your hand and your wife came in here and saw you not raising your hand, you will want to take my martial art class afterwards because you'll need it, okay? So you obviously should be raising your hand at this moment when I say who wants to be a millionaire within a week doing your profession from an 8 to 5 job. And then I add to it, I say, well, what's going to happen on day 1 is I'm going to take away your eye. And on day 2, I'm going to take away one of your arms. And on day 3, I'm going to take off your leg. And now at the end of the week, who wants to work for $1 million? And of course, nobody wants to work for $1 million because that would be completely stupid to lose all your physical assets for a job, right? And that's the problem that we face today, especially when we're 40 and up. We think that our job is everything, especially guys, this is for you. We think that is, it's not just my thumb or my finger, it's my whole arm, it's what I do. It's not. You're a father, you're a friend, you're a neighbor, you're all these other things, and a job is just one little function of that. Don't lose sight of that, okay? I had to learn that the hard way. What I mean by the hard way is my martial art instructor was an ex-Navy SEAL. Quite transparently, I don't think he was a very liked Navy SEAL. And I remember when I lost my job back in '95, and I was teaching a class for 15 years for him, and he says, can I talk to you? Which was usually a not good situation. So I said, sure, yeah, let's sit and chat. So he says, let's talk outside in the car, and that was even worse. So we sat outside in my car, and his discussion with me was, he says, how much do you think these people really